Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Mohammed, and we are pleased to offer translation service in the language of you and the preferred language of yours. If you are using the Zoom app, you will soon receive an invitation to access the Wordly AI translator. For those using the web version or requiring voice interpretation, please refer to the link provided in Dwight's email. I will also share it in the chat for your convenience as well. Thank you very much again. Bonjour à tous, merci de vous joindre à nous aujourd'hui. Je m'appelle Mohamed, je tiens à vous informer que nous offrons un service de traduction dans la langue de votre choix. Si vous utilisez l'application de Zoom, vous recevrez bientôt une invitation pour accéder au traducteur Wordly AI. Pour ceux qui utilisent la version web ou qui nécessitent une interprétation vocale, veuillez consulter le lien fourni dans le courriel de Dwight. Je vais également le partager dans le chat pour plus de commodity. Merci. Thank you, Dwight. You can go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. All right, so we just have 1 hour for this session, and in the interest of time, would like to just continue with today's proceedings. Sounds like I'm in a court. No. All right. Just a session for, of course, professional development. Now, please permit me, I'm going to be sharing my screen with you. Let me know when you're able to see.
Yes, we are able to see your screen, Dwight. Thanks.
Okay, excellent. All right, so just like to welcome everyone, including our facilitator, Kate Agar, who is, of course, has an extensive experience spanning 15 plus years with in this domain of language instruction, and is, of course, one of those integral persons at the Niagara College that will be taking us through what this OSLT, or occupation-specific language training, is all about. And before that, you'll also be going through, of course, some information in terms of how to help build interpersonal communication skills in healthcare, going through active listening, building trust and rapport, and how to handle difficult situations within this Canadian healthcare context. As we continue, I'd like to start off with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat peoples. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also recognize that Toronto is subject of the Dish with One Spoon, Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. So whether you came here forcibly or being displaced from your homeland, or you were taken to Canada by your parents or family, or you came of your own volition, we are all treaty peoples. The covenant and treaties, of course, for your specific locale, you can find that at the web address that you're seeing at the bottom of the screen. So Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, and I'm using that because, of course, I'm in Toronto. Signed with the Mississauga of the Credit and William treaties, signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa bands. As we gather, we commit ourselves to the ongoing work of reconciliation and stewardship by paying respect to their elders, past and present, and acknowledge the enduring presence and resilience of the Indigenous people on this land. Now, I like to remind persons of our vision and mission for the program. And so for the IEHP program itself, our parenting organization is Pegasus Institute, but we do have a vision for the IEHP program, which is a future where, of course, we want to see all IEHP being able to seamlessly integrate into a diverse, inclusive Canadian healthcare system. And so we set out on a mission to, of course, enhance the knowledge and accessibility of IEHPs in Canada to be able to integrate into the Canadian healthcare system, being able to leverage all their expertise, that years of practice that they've had from their home country, and also training and education to improve the community and the health and well-being of persons here in Canada. We do this through pathway guidance, skill development, and career connection. And today's session is really geared towards skill development. And of course, for those persons who will move on from this session to engage with Niagara College, then you will also be going through some career connections there based on program design. And Kate will, of course, talk more about that. Now, I would like to ask you to Mohammed, you can just go ahead and launch a poll here. I'm just going to ask you to respond to this poll question. So for the most part, I expect persons to be selecting at least two. So let's see what your language fluency is like where all of this is concerned. All right. So, wow. So in terms of the official languages that we have here in Canada, that's English and French. And the aim is, of course, to have persons that are within the Canadian system, if it is that you're going to be integrating in work, daily communication, socializing with other persons, whether it be for professional reasons or for personal reasons, then we want to see a lot more persons at that native proficiency or for either English or French. But look at those numbers there, 25%, 10% compared to other language, which is at 50%. And for English intermediate percent, the percentage for intermediate fluency, 65%. And so, of course, you understand the need for programs or courses like these offered through the Niagara College and other colleges across Toronto, Ontario. All right, thank you. You can take that down. So now today Kate is here to speak about OSLT for Anglophone IEHPs. And IEHPs, that's internationally educated healthcare professionals, for those persons who may be wondering what exactly this is each time we use the abbreviation. But we also have just a bit of information. It's not really a lot that I will just go through here for French-speaking or Francophone IEHPs in Canada. Un pharmacien linguistique spécifié à la profession est offerte ou PSF francophone par les collèges de la Cité d'Ottawa. Le cours compétences en communication en milieu de travail pour les soins de santé est offert selon un format mixte qui intègre des cours en linguistique en person ainsi que des activités en ligne. Il comprend 10 heures généralement par répartis sur 18 semaines. Ces cours aideraient les personnes à comprendre les milieux de travail en soins de santé en Ontario, comme l'hôpital, ses cliniques et les maisons de retraite, à intégrer clairement et efficacement avec leurs collèges, leurs clients et leurs superviseurs. Ce cours est conçu spécifiquement pour les infirmiers et infirmiers formés à changer. All right, so the course information is there for those persons who need it. And at this time, I would like to turn over to Kate, who will go through the English component for Niagara College. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dwight. So thank you for having me here this afternoon. And I will be sharing information for colleges, for courses offered at Niagara College as well as other colleges across Ontario. I'll provide detailed information at the end of the session, but I do want to say that the OSLT courses, which are occupation-specific language training courses for newcomers, are government funded and they are free for participants who qualify. To qualify for these courses, you would need to be at Canadian Language Benchmark CLB level 5, 6, or higher, and you need to be either a permanent resident, convention refugee, or protected person in order to successfully qualify for these programs. One note that I'd like to make prior to my presentation is that these programs are scheduled to end sometime within the next year or so. So I encourage you to take advantage of the courses and programs offered through the OSLT programs at whatever college is convenient for you. A lot of these programs are offered online, so there's lots of flexibility. Wherever you can join us from, that would be great. But right now, I want to focus on my key part of the presentation, which is building interpersonal communication skills in healthcare. So we'll begin by looking at essential communication skills needed to be successful within the healthcare system in Ontario and in Canada. And then I'll give more detailed information about the schedule of courses for upcoming April. So far, so good? All right. So in today's presentation, I would like to go over key components of interpersonal communication skills. And these are active listening skills, trust and rapport, and managing difficult conversations. So when you are actively involved in a Canadian workplace, particularly in healthcare sector, these are essential skills that we need to have or we need to build in order to integrate successfully into the workforce. When it comes to active listening, in the world of technology today, we're constantly distracted by our laptops, our cell phones, TVs, radios, whatever it may be. But whenever you're communicating with a client, a colleague, or another person, you do want to make sure that you pay full attention to that person. Avoid distractions, maintain eye contact, and show that you're engaged. Your engagement with another individual will help you build stronger relationships and will help you to be more successful. When it comes to reflective listening, it's a key skill to ensure that information you receive is accurate, In healthcare, it is vital that you get accurate information. And by repeating what someone says, by summarizing what they've mentioned to you, this is the way to ensure that the information you received and you recorded is correct. In the OSLT courses, we do teach strategies, specific strategies for reflective listening, but these can be as simple as restating what the speaker is saying in your own words to show your understanding. In the course, we practice a lot of these skills. So it's not just about talking about having these skills, but it's actually having the opportunity to practice in situations through role plays with your classmates and your instructors to help you build confidence in how to properly participate in reflective listening. Finally, our nonverbal communication is key. We can be saying one thing, but the way we use our body language can say something completely different. So using open and relaxed body language to show that you are approachable and attentive is important. It's how we stand, how we sit, how we position our hands, our face. Are we facing the person whom we're speaking to? Are we looking at them, or are we doing something else at the same time? So being mindful of these things is important to improve your active listening skills. More specifically, oh, 1 second. I have some additional tips here. And as you can see in the image of the slide, it says listen with empathy. I put empathy in the middle there, but it is important to show empathy by acknowledging the speaker's feelings and perspective, right? In the healthcare sector, we come across very difficult situations, and people may feel frustrated. They may feel discouraged. Someone who is in pain might be reacting as if they're angry, so in a more aggressive way. And for us as healthcare professionals and within any workplace, it is important that we acknowledge how someone feels, and you need to have the right language skills to do that. Again, through the OSLT courses, you learn appropriate expressions of how to acknowledge someone's feelings and the way they're interacting with you. But tip number 1 is to avoid interruption and interrupting someone. Allow the person whom you're speaking with to express themselves completely, to finish their thoughts before responding. You need to be present in the moment and listen carefully to what the person is saying to you rather than focusing on your response to them, right? It's a process. It takes time, and we all want to give answers. And I bet you sometimes you have the right answers, but providing the space and the environment where someone can express themselves comfortably without being interrupted shows that you respect them, and it helps you to build a good relationship with whether it's your clients, your patients, your colleagues, or your superiors. Patience. If you're in the healthcare field, you know empathy and patience are key. So, in a Canadian workplace environment, you will be meeting colleagues and clients who come from a different cultural background than you, who may speak English perfectly, and some who might not be able to express themselves well. This is where patience is important. We need to give the person the time to express themselves fully without rushing them, without trying to fill in, without trying to help them or assist them in expressing themselves, because then it's you who is speaking, not them, right? On a personal note, my grandparents, when they were alive, they were here in Canada with us for 10 years. But when we brought them here to Canada, neither one of them spoke English. So in their older age, we obviously had to accompany them to clinics, hospitals, etc., medical appointments. And when they were left on their own, for example, during a hospital stay, I always wondered, how can a nurse or a doctor communicate with my grandma or grandpa when they don't speak any English? And it's through your body language, through the tone of voice that you use, and by being patient, because it can be very frustrating, right? When you're talking to someone and they don't understand or they can't respond. So you have to find it in you to kind of step back a little bit and to give the time for the communication to happen, given that language barriers would be a norm, or they are a norm, I think. When it comes to building trust and rapport with our patients and clients, we first need to understand what is trust and what is rapport. So, trust is the firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone. We trust our healthcare professionals when we know that they're telling us the truth, right? They're able to help us to the best of their ability, right? They're guiding us through whatever situations we might be facing. When it comes to rapport, it is a harmonious relationship in which the people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings or ideas and communicate well. Just like an instructor with the students, a medical professional and their clients have to have a relationship, no matter long-term or short-term. There have to be mutual respect and understanding, and that only comes through communication. So let's take a look at the components of trust and rapport. We have consistency on my left-hand side here, right? We're not changing our minds constantly. We're following a consistent way of interaction, of communication, of making that connection with the client. Being sincere, being genuine, being human for that matter. And a lot of the times in the healthcare field, you might find yourself under a lot of pressure, under a lot of stress, and you might not have the time to be sincere and genuine, but sincerity goes a long way. Being, as I said, human with one another goes a long way in building strong relationships. Being reliable. If you say you're going to do something, do your best to do it in the time that you've specified. This is, I find, to be a key skill in any workplace, being reliable. And it's not only with the clients and the patients, it's also with colleagues and our superiors. If we say we're going to do something today at 1:30, we're going to do it today at 1:30. Commitment. Commitment is important. I find commitment kind of comes from within us. It's commitment to your profession and why. Why did you decide to do it? For example, in my case, I am 100% committed to my learners. No matter the situation in my family, in my personal life, when I'm at work, I'm 100% there and helping my learners to achieve the best within the time that I'm given with them. Integrity and competence are two other elements of trust. Now, in the interest of time, I will move on and we'll talk about specific strategies for building trust. So, as mentioned previously, consistency and reliability are a significant part of that. Ensuring that you keep your commitments and follow through on what you say you will do. If you promise a client to get back to them within 24 hours, you should do that because they're counting on you, right? If you promise your colleague to give them an update on your client by the end of your shift, don't just go home. Do talk to your colleague and give them the update, right? Because they rely on that information. And that shows that you are a reliable colleague or coworker. Empathy. Empathy comes again here, right? Empathy and understanding. It is important that you demonstrate that you genuinely care about the patient's well-being. Again, there's so many things that are happening in our daily lives, not only at work, but also personally. But we do have to find a balance where we can still demonstrate to those that we're caring for that they are important to us and that their well-being is important to us. That comes through communication as well. It's not only our body language, it's also what we say to our clients. And open communication, of course, is important. In Canadian workplace environment, again, healthcare or not, open communication is essential, whether it's with clients or with colleagues. Let's say you made a mistake. Maybe it's a critical mistake. Maybe it's a small mistake. Being honest about making that mistake is important. That's what builds credibility. Not trying to hide and cover up or ignore the situation, but owning up to it and being responsible for what happened and finding the solution. Being honest with patients and with your colleagues will help you to build stronger relationships with one another that will hopefully lead to a more harmonious workplace environment, right? And in the healthcare sector, I believe that honesty is essential. We're dealing with somebody's lives, and you know that. I know you know that from experience back home and how important it is to maintain that integrity throughout. Now, being respectful. This is a tricky one. Not really. We treat others as we would like to be treated. So if I treat you with respect, I expect to be treated with respect as well. But what does that mean in a Canadian workplace setting? It means that we respect other people's values, beliefs, and preferences. Working in a multicultural society has its challenges, where you will meet people that come from different religious backgrounds and beliefs that might not align with yours. And you have to realize that that's okay, right? There are multiple rights, right? As in truth in the world. And what is normal to you, what is true to you, might not be the same for someone else based on their beliefs, based on their experiences and their upbringing. So showing respect and not arguing against the choices that our clients and patients may make. That's one way of building trust and rapport. Confidentiality. Confidentiality is major. Now, each workplace will have their own policies and regulations related to confidentiality. However, it is on you to ensure that patient information is kept confidential and only shared with those who need to know. It is your responsibility to become familiar with the regulations and expectations within your workplace of how to maintain confidentiality. In the course that I'm teaching right now, we were talking about hallway chats. Hallway chats are small informal meetings between two healthcare professionals happen in the hall of a clinic, a hospital, or other scenario. And you have to give each other information about a patient very quickly within 2 or 3 minute time frame without giving out too much of the personal information that might actually identify the patient to someone else who's not taking care of them, right? And we practice this. We practice this in our classes, making sure that you understand what language is appropriate in the moment where you have to share information about a patient in a somewhat public space, but what information to keep and what information to share. Very practical skills. Same comes to communicating on the phone, right? How do you protect patients' confidentiality when you leave a voicemail message to another healthcare provider or to the patient themselves? Finally, being approachable. Being approachable to me is synonymous with being friendly, but being professional, right? We're not meant to be friends with our clients. That's not our goal. But our goal is to create a safe environment where the client can open up to you and be honest with you and give you the information that you need to diagnose and to work through the care plan, right? If a client doesn't feel comfortable, or maybe they don't feel that a healthcare provider is listening to them, they're very likely to withhold the information. For example, if you ask a client whether or not they smoke, that's an important piece of information for any healthcare provider. And if they feel comfortable with you, they will share an honest answer. However, if they feel that the atmosphere or the environment is hostile, they might say, no, I don't, right? If they feel that they're being judged, or whether they smoke or drink or whatever other information they're sharing, if they feel like they're being judged, they might not open up, and therefore they might not provide all the information that you need to properly deal with their situation, right? And it is important to make sure that you are welcoming, you are approachable, and the patient feels comfortable with you. We don't want our clients to feel like they're a burden. Maybe they're in pain, but they don't want to bother you. Well, we need to make sure that they're comfortable with us to let us know what is happening, because that's when they will get the best care from you, right? Not because they're hiding this information. Now, a few more things here. Let's focus on handling difficult situations. Difficult situations are difficult, okay? They require a lot of practice. And I will tell you, in my class last night, we actually practiced assertive communication skills within a team environment. So when you have to report information to different team members about one client. So when it comes to difficult situations, assertive communication is key, and this is one of the components that we cover in our OSLT courses. But to help you, you need to prepare and plan for difficult situations. Whether it is discussing a difficult diagnosis with a patient, or understanding that a client might not be happy to receive certain information, we want to make sure that you are ready, that you have everything in front of you before meeting the client or attending a team meeting where you're discussing something challenging. When it comes to the assertive communication, there's an emotional intelligence part to that. And what it is how we react to the way people interact with us. So staying calm and composed, even when the conversation becomes more challenging, maybe someone is getting loud and aggressive. It is on you to maintain neutral position in your voice, in your body language, so that way you do not engage, do not put fuel into the fire. Okay. So this is something that we also talk a lot about in our course and practice through different role play scenarios. For example, I get as an instructor to play a role of, let's say, a physician, and a physician who is giving very clear directions, and I insist on a nurse doing something. Well, maybe what I'm insisting on is not in her or his scope of practice. And it's on the participant of the course then to then respond to me appropriately, to say, unfortunately, I cannot do this at the moment. So that's another practical example from the course where we teach how to handle difficult situations, not only with your clients, because you already know how to do this in your language. You already know how to do this within your own cultural environment, but how to do this appropriately in the Canadian workplace. Finally, we come back to effective communication one more time. I think I repeated that in every slide. Perhaps that was on purpose. The language that we use is important. And how you communicate with a colleague and how you communicate with a client and how you communicate with a patient who is my grandfather are three different things, right? You're going to talk differently to everyone you meet. In some circumstances, you have to use very technical language. But when using technical language, there are abbreviations, there are names of medications, and we practice these in our courses. But when it comes to communicating with a patient or a client, you have to change the language. You no longer use the same terminology. And if you do, you have to have the skills to explain it in simpler terms so that the patient understands 100% what we're talking about. And this can be difficult. I don't doubt that every single one of you is knowledgeable in your field, and you can do this in your own language. But doing the exact same thing in English can be challenging. So why not enroll in a program that will help you practice these skills and will help you gain confidence? So that way, when you are given the opportunity to join the workplace and be part of a healthcare team, you already know what is expected of you and how to communicate effectively. Last but not least, additional tips for handling difficult situations. Be patient. Again, can't say more than that. You just have to be patient. But patience, again, not only related to how we act, it's also how we speak, right? So allowing the other person to process the information. Do not rush the conversation. Sometimes we feel under pressure. It feels like I have to get all of this information out now so quickly and so fast. That's not true. We have to give space and time for the person to understand what you're saying, to actually respond to you effectively. So in this case, being patient doesn't necessarily mean not getting frustrated with someone. Being patient actually means how you talk. Are you talking fast? Are you talking slow? Are you giving time? Are you allowing for questions and for the conversation to happen naturally? Or are you just firing the information out there in hopes that the client or the other person can understand. Follow-up. Follow-up is important in Canadian workplace, especially when we are dealing with clients. We want to make sure that after our initial conversation or meeting, that everything is going well a couple of days after, right? We can't assume that everything is going well naturally. I think it's our responsibility to ensure that the person actually understands. And if there are any additional concerns or questions, they know that you care. They know that they can come back to you to discuss these. That's why follow-ups are important. And finally, seeking support. With difficult situations, okay, one of my advice would be, if given an opportunity, observe someone else and how they're dealing with it, right? Oftentimes, if you have a chance to look at how someone who's been working in this workplace for a long time deals with a difficult client or a difficult colleague, it will give you an insight, perhaps, on how to manage yourself as well. And ask for help when you're unsure. And again, there's specific language that we use when we ask for help, right? There's polite ways to ask for help. And there are ways that, are likely to give you a positive response. And through the courses, you learn the language that will help you to communicate effectively in your career. So far, so good. Are there any questions about what I've talked about? 1 second. We're good. Okay, well, here we come. Information about programs. Okay, what is OSLT and why you might be interested in taking these courses? So OSLT is Occupation-Specific Language Training Program funded by the IRCC. Okay, there are several delivery options, and there are different courses that are offered. So there's a 15 weeks course, which equals to 180 hours. 8 weeks equals 40 hours, and there's a shorter delivery of 6 weeks, which is also 40 hours. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, some of these programs are being cut, and not every college offers these, okay? There's fewer colleges now that offer these programs in April and then going into 2026. Niagara College, Seneca, and Fanshawe are 3 colleges that are listed on the OSLT website that offer programs for healthcare professionals specifically. There are other programs for business and for construction and trades, as well as project management, but the 3 colleges that you see on my slide right now are the ones that offer courses specifically for healthcare professionals. Now, how are they usually delivered? Oh, before that, eligibility criteria. For eligibility criteria, as I mentioned at the start, you need to be at CLB level 5 to 8. If you do not have a Canadian language benchmark assessment, you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can find information at your local YMCA assessment center, who will conduct a language test for you for free, okay? And they will tell you what level you're at. They will give you a referral form that will have options for the courses available to you within your community. And because I'm in the Niagara region, I will tell you that we work with 3 YMCA centers here, who do the assessments for our newcomers, and then the newcomers then can come to us with questions about programming and what they're eligible for. This particular program is funded by the federal government, and there are restrictions on who can apply. So it's permanent residents, convention refugees, protected persons, or MOME 23 status. Okay. We do not accept applicants with Canadian citizenship or other immigration status. If you are a refugee claimant, we also cannot accept your application. So you would have to have a notice of decision paperwork in order to qualify for programs at any of the colleges that are geared towards placing newcomers into the language programs or into the workplace programs. Here's an example of what we are offering at Niagara College in April. So our course is scheduled from April 7th to July 19th, and it takes place completely online. You will use a Zoom application to access your evening live class with an instructor twice a week from 6:30 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. You will also be required to complete additional work assigned to you on our learning management system called Moodle. And this is where you do a lot of activities, and then you practice the skills that you've learned about in class in Zoom sessions. So there is flexibility in taking this program in a sense that you don't have to travel anywhere. And upon completion of the program, you will get a certificate of completion that states that you finished, in our case, it's a 15-week, 180-hour course that is titled OSLT for Healthcare. Okay. I do not have information for what 2 other colleges are offering, but I can tell you exactly where you can find that information if you wish. There's just a few more minutes on my end. There's another one. Do you have any questions? I see that there are a few comments in chat, so let me, yeah. Okay. Okay, so thank you for addressing those comments. I'm going to leave that till the end as well. So final slide on my end here. My contact information is here for you. Okay, so again, my name is Kate Agar and I work at Niagara College. My email is eagar@niagaracollege.ca, and you see my phone number there as well. OSLT programs, there's a QR code for you there, and I can also give you the address, the web link, and I can show you how to navigate it as well. Just give me 1 second. For anyone who is interested, this is where the information comes from, okay? And I will go, I will share my screen. It's a different screen, okay? It's the OSLT homepage, so that way you can navigate it if you would like. So new and upcoming courses, this is where you want to go to find out what other OSLT programs are offered and contact information for where to send your application form. So if I scroll down, you can see that there's business and finance. That's not interested to us. I will scroll down to health sciences. Okay, so this is our course from Niagara College, and there's this email address, but it's easier if you connect to me directly because then I respond to you directly. Accessing the healthcare job market is offered by Seneca, as well as managing healthcare interactions is offered by Seneca. You notice that these two courses are scheduled consecutively. You complete one and you can register for the next. Managing healthcare interactions is also offered at Fanshawe College in June to July. And finally, Seneca is offering another course in July to September, communicating in healthcare. So you could take 3 courses, or you could take 1, or whatever works best for you. You just need to make sure that you confirm the information with individual college with regards to their scheduling. Okay, so you can see that these courses are scheduled slightly differently. They're only 1 day a week. So you get less time with the instructor. There are advantages and disadvantages to both. And as I said, because the program will be coming to an end relatively soon, take advantage of it while you can. Finally, one last thing. If you're interested in submitting an application form for Niagara College, here's a QR code for you that will get you to our homepage, and we have an online application. The applications come directly to me. I will be looking through the documents that you submit, and the only 2 things you need to submit is your language proficiency results, that is Canadian language benchmark, and your current immigration status here in Canada. Once I have that information, I'm able to say whether or not you're able to participate in the course, and your applications are processed literally within 24 hours of submission. Confirmation emails are said to be sent out by the end of March. So we still are accepting applications, but there are limited spots. We typically do not accept more than 20 applicants into the program, and I'm about halfway there. Okay, so there's 10 seats available. If any of you are interested or are qualified, feel free to send me an email, submit an application, and that's it. It is 1:25. Thank you, everyone, for your attention, and I will hang with you for a few more minutes. I'll stop sharing and take any questions from you that you would like to ask in person or in chat. I can attempt to address some of these as well.
Thank you so much, Kate.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kate, for this very informative session. And of course, going through that skills building component as it pertains to communication and rapport in healthcare setting, and providing the information for the program. So there are some comments and a few of them questions in the chat, if you can just address some of those openly.
Of course, of course.
Well, this one that says, I'm a visitor, do I qualify? For that one, I think you responded to, but you can just briefly go over that again.
Sure. For a visitor, unfortunately, a lot of the free programs will not be available because we do need to have permanent resident, convention refugee, or protected person as a status. Okay. Is OSLT, the question is, I guess, is OSLT accepted by the CPSA?
Okay, so
No.
this is, okay, I'm getting College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta. Okay.
Yeah, so my answer would be, I'm assuming it would be like, is it a language proficiency requirement? Then my answer is no. OSLT courses do not meet the language proficiency requirement if you plan to apply for licensing or to apply for programming within a college or a university. setting. Okay, so OSLT courses are meant to help you integrate into the Canadian workplace, not to prove your language proficiency, unlike, for example, something like an IELTS exam. So I would believe that for any licensing requirements or for admission into colleges or universities, it's the IELTS score or TOEFL score that is required. And OSLT certificate does not meet that requirement for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much for pointing that out, Kate. Just another question, though. For those persons who have done, say, IELTS or CELPIP or Pearson Test of English, any one of those three tests for the general band for migration to Canada, they have those language results and they're still valid. Are they able to use that instead of doing, say, an assessment with YMCA or HEV?
It's a very good question. So the answer, unfortunately, is no, just because we input our information into the government database that requires us to see those CLB assessment results. So I can say whether or not a person would be successfully admitted into the program. Let's say if you sent me an IELTS level 5-6, I would say, sure, it is likely that your CLB level is going to be close to this and you qualify for the program. But in order for me to register you into the government database, I need a specific code that is only appearing on the CLB assessment.
Okay, thank you for that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go further down. Do we have to choose the program ourselves? And here I'm seeing in bracket duration in terms of weeks. And is a certificate awarded upon completion? Well, the second portion of that question you responded to, but let's take the entire thing.
For sure. So easy part first, certificates are awarded. So you will get a certificate of completion at the end. When it comes to the duration of the program, whatever college you apply to, they will tell you how long their programs are. Right now, Niagara College is the only one that offers the 180-hour course in the spring term. Okay, so you can choose to apply to us, but that's the only option you have with us. If you go, let's say, to Seneca or Fanshawe, then you would have that 6-week option with them, and they have different start dates for those courses.
Okay, thank you. So there's another question here. I think that one may be to me. Is there a benchmark for starting French learning? And I'd say yes, for all of these programs that are funded by IRCC, you need to actually have your CLB level or CLB scores in order to enroll in the program. All right. Let me see. It's now at that mark. Thank you so much for the detailed information about the program. I understand that this program alone could help improve language skills. Can I use this language certificate to apply for any college or university program, or is there a specific area where it can be used?
Excellent question.
And this one you already responded to. I'll just take the last one. Are the programs offered by other colleges, Seneca and other, also free? And that one is yes. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much to all the participants that joined the session and for engaging with us. Okay, for those other questions that are in the chat that we did not get a chance to respond to, as much as possible, the information will be available on our IEHP events page. You can go back there and review the content or the information that you will see there. There is also some positive to doing your language assessment. So Kate suggested YMCA. There are some bridging programs or colleges that will accept those CLB scores that you have as proof of competency in English or in French. So there's another that's another positive coming out of that as well. So feel free, go and register with Niagara College, go engage in the OSLT program. And like Kate said, some of these programs are closing. So you'll see all that list of programs there. Previously, we also had other programs in French as well, and those programs are no longer available. So right now we only have one remaining French OSLT program. And so you see where the gap is really closing. We previously had ELT, which is Enhanced Language Training as well. And at the end of March, that's 31st of this month, all of those will be closed. So as much as possible, capitalize on these opportunities whenever they are available. That's it for us today. I'm Dwight Baker, Mentorship Coordinator. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Kate, for joining us and for ably facilitating the session. To Mohammed or tech personnel with BATAC, please, we appreciate the work that you have been doing, and to all our participants, do enjoy the rest of your day and have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye for now.
Thank you so much, Dwight and Kate. Thank you. You have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.